It's in the way they look at you, like you're a question they can't answer, a flame they're afraid to touch. You don't even have to try. Your energy alone is enough to unravel them. They feel it, that undeniable truth. Everyone wants you. It's in the way people lean in when you speak, the way their voices hitch when they say your name. But for some, that truth isn't exciting. It's terrifying. You make them nervous, like they're standing too close to a fire they can't control. Scared because they know they can't compete, can't keep up, can't hold your attention. You're the kind of presence that leaves them exposed, raw, and unsure of themselves. And they hate it. Because you don't just exist, you demand. And that's what shakes them to their core. They battle themselves every time they see you. One part of them is drawn to you with an intensity they can't explain, while the other part warns them to stay away. You are untouchable, not because you push people away, but because your energy commands a level of confidence they don't have. They overthink, second-guess, and convince themselves that reaching for you is a mistake. They see you as someone who could walk into any room and turn heads without even trying, and that alone is enough to make them hesitate. They assume you have options, that you are desired by many, and that pursuing you would only lead to rejection. The idea of competing for your attention is intimidating, and instead of stepping up, they choose to step back. In their mind, they are already losing a game they haven't even played. They wonder, what do I have to offer? And would I even be noticed? Questions that don't stem from reality, but from their own insecurities. Every interaction with you feels like a test they can't pass. Their words feel clumsy, their presence feels too small. They hesitate before speaking, overanalyze their texts, and replay conversations in their head. They worry about how they look, how they sound, whether they are interesting enough to hold your attention. It's exhausting for them, and yet they can't stay away. To them, you are not just a person, you are an experience. You radiate something different, something they are not used to. You carry yourself with a quiet power, an effortless confidence that makes others feel seen, and yet, instead of embracing that, they let their fear take over. They assume you must be surrounded by people who are smarter, more attractive, more exciting. They convince themselves that you are out of reach, and in doing so, they place you on a pedestal so high that they paralyze themselves with doubt. This internal battle creates a cycle of self-sabotage. They think they would never go for someone like me. So they withdraw before they even try, convincing themselves it's for the best. But deep down, they know the truth. It's not that you are untouchable. It's that their fear is keeping them from stepping forward. What they fail to realize is that you never asked them to compete. You never demanded perfection or superiority. The barriers they perceive are ones they built themselves, and until they overcome them, they will remain stuck, watching you from a distance, wondering what could have been. Deep down, they want you more than they are willing to admit. It's not just admiration, it's a pull so strong that it shakes them. But desire alone isn't enough to push them forward. Instead of stepping up, they hesitate, paralyzed by the thought of competing for your attention. They know you turn heads wherever you go. They see how people are drawn to you, how conversations shift when you enter a room. And instead of believing they could be the one to stand out, they convince themselves they are just another name on a long list of admirers. The idea of competition eats away at them. It's not just about wanting you, it's about the fear of losing. They assume there will always be someone more charming, more successful, more exciting waiting in the wings. Even if you show interest, even if you give them your time, their mind whispers doubts. Why me? Why not someone else? They begin to see themselves as replaceable, and that thought alone is enough to make them retreat. Their insecurity makes them overanalyze everything. If you don't text back right away, if you seem busy, if they see you interacting with others, their mind spirals. It's not that you've done anything wrong, it's that they already believe. They are at a disadvantage. They assume the worst, believing that one misstep will cost them their chance with you. And instead of rising to meet you, they sink into self-doubt, convinced that they can't measure up. But here's the truth. Competition only exists when someone feels they are not enough. Confidence isn't about eliminating the presence of others. It's about knowing that who you are is already valuable, yet they don't see it that way. Instead of focusing on building a connection, they focus on the people they believe they are up against. And that insecurity, that fear of being compared is what holds them back. What they don't realize is that you are not looking for someone who will crumble under pressure. You are not interested in someone who backs down at the first sign of uncertainty. If they truly want you, they have to be willing to claim that space in your life, not with arrogance but with certainty, because the truth is, you don't need to be convinced of their worth. They do, and until they understand that, they will always see themselves as just another option, even when you've already given them the opportunity to be more. So they stay in limbo, stuck between longing and fear. They want you, but the idea of not being enough, of being just another face in the crowd, keeps them frozen. And while they hesitate, while they wait for a perfect moment that may never come, someone else, someone bolder, more secure, will step forward without fear. Because in the end, it's never about the competition. It's about whether they believe they deserve a place beside you. It's not just your presence that unnerves them. It's the way the world reacts to you. Every room you walk into, you shift the energy without even trying. People turn their heads. They listen when you speak. You don't have to beg for attention. It naturally follows you. And that terrifies them. They see how others gravitate toward you, how effortlessly you command a space. And the thought of sharing your attention with the world makes them uneasy. It's not that they don't trust you, it's that they don't trust themselves not to get lost in the crowd. Their self-worth is already fragile, and seeing how desirable you are only amplifies their fear of not being enough. Their mind begins to spiral. Every glance in your direction, every conversation you have, every interaction, suddenly it feels like a threat. What if someone else is more interesting, more exciting, more worthy? Instead of embracing your energy, they become consumed by the idea that someone, somewhere, is just waiting to take you away. And so, insecurity creeps in. They might not say it outright, but you'll feel it, the way they tense up when they see you talking to others. The shift in their mood when you get a little too much attention. The passive-aggressive comments, the subtle attempts to make you prove your loyalty, even when you've done nothing wrong. It's not jealousy in the traditional sense, it's fear. The fear that, in a world full of admirers, they won't be able to hold their place in your life. But here's the truth. You were never meant to shrink yourself for someone else's security. You are not responsible for making them feel worthy. If they cannot handle the fact that you shine, if they see your light as a threat rather than a gift, that is their burden to carry. The right person won't fear your magnetism. They will be proud of it. They will see your ability to attract others not as a danger, but as a testament to who you are. They will not hold you back out of insecurity. They will stand beside you with confidence, because at the end of the day, love is not about possession, it's about connection. And if they truly want to be with you, they will have to let go of their fear and step into their own power. Otherwise, they will lose themselves in their own doubts, watching from the sidelines as someone else, someone stronger, steps up without hesitation. Did you know the Obsidian Inner Order is the #1 ascension nexus for chosen ones? Well, now you do, but here's something you might not know. Joining the Inner Order gets you access to weekly group calls with over 450 fellow chosen ones. And we record them so you can catch up anytime. Our private Discord, it's not just active, it's a treasure trove of the world's most fascinating conversations. We're talking deep dives into occult knowledge, spiritual techniques, targeted individuals, diet optimization, and everything you need to fine-tune your ascension. This is where chosen ones gather to exchange wisdom, elevate one another, and tap into the kind of insights you won't find on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. And for the seekers, dive into modern manifestation mechanics, our exclusive grimoire with 3 chapters available to members. Learn how to turn your home into an abundance magnet, master basic spellcraft for physical manifestation, and channel magical forces to elevate your goals. Plus, you'll get access to interviews with real targeted individuals and video specials so bold, the YouTube archons don't even want you to see them. This is more than a membership, it's a movement. So what are you waiting for? Stop searching. Start ascending, the link is in the description. The Obsidian Inner Order, so easy, a chosen one can do it. You don't just attract attention, you redefine expectations. There's something about you that forces people to think bigger, to see beyond what they thought was possible. And for some, that's inspiring. But for others, it's terrifying. Because standing next to you means confronting their own limitations. It means realizing that the bare minimum they once got away with will never be enough for someone like you. They've never met someone like you before, and that shakes them to their core. You are a rare energy, the kind of presence that makes people pause and reassess, and that alone is intimidating. You set the standard just by being who you are without even trying. Your confidence, your intelligence, the way you carry yourself, it all speaks to a level of self-worth that they are not used to. They can't just show up halfway. They can't rely on charm alone. With you, mediocrity isn't an option. Instead of rising to meet that standard, some people shrink. They look at you and see everything they wish they could be, and rather than feeling motivated, they feel exposed. You don't make them insecure. They do that to themselves. Your presence is simply a mirror reflecting the gaps they haven't filled within themselves. And that's where the fear comes in. Because to be with you, they would have to grow. They would have to evolve into someone better, someone who can match your energy. And that's not something everyone is willing to do. Some will try to act like they don't care, pretending that you don't affect them. But their actions betray them. They hesitate, they second-guess, they create distance, not because they don't want you, but because they know they should be doing more, should be better. But instead of putting in the work, they let their fear make the decision for them. And here's the thing. You will never dim your light to make someone else feel comfortable. You will never lower your standards just to make them stay. You are not meant to fit into their world of limitations. They are meant to rise into yours. If they can't handle that, if they choose to stay in their comfort zone instead of stepping up, that's not your problem. Because at the end of the day, you are not asking for too much. You are simply asking for what you give. And if that scares them, then they were never meant to stand beside you in the first place. They've spent their whole life surrounded by people who were easy to impress, people who settled for the bare minimum, who never required them to step outside of their comfort zone. But then they met you, and suddenly the same tricks, the same charm, the same half-efforts that once worked so effortlessly fail. Not because you are demanding, but because you know your worth. And that realization, it shakes them. For the first time, they feel inadequate, not because you make them feel small, but because they are forced to confront a truth they've been avoiding. They've been coasting. They've never had to try harder, never had to be more, because no one ever made them realize they should. But you exist as undeniable proof that they could do better, that they must do better. And so, the self-doubt creeps in. Why would someone as powerful, kind, and magnetic as you want someone like me? They start questioning everything. Their confidence, once unshaken, now feels fragile. They analyze every detail, what they wear, how they speak, how they act around you. They wonder if they are saying the right things, if they are doing enough, if they are enough. The weight of their own insecurities becomes unbearable, and instead of confronting them, they retreat. They hesitate, they pull away, they self-sabotage, because it is easier to walk away than to face the fear that one day you might wake up and realize you deserve better. The truth is, this fear doesn't stem from you. It comes from the parts of themselves they haven't healed. They are used to being admired from a distance, but true connection, true vulnerability, that terrifies them. Because to be with someone like you, they can't just exist. They have to show up. They have to become. And that kind of transformation, not everyone is ready for it. So they find reasons to push you away. Maybe they act distant. Maybe they tell themselves that you are too much. Maybe they convince themselves that they aren't interested after all. But deep down, it's not disinterest. It's fear. Fear of falling short. Fear of being seen for who they really are, without the illusions they hide behind. What they don't realize is that you never asked them to be perfect. You never required them to be anything other than real. But their own insecurities won't let them believe that. Instead of stepping up, they shrink. Instead of rising to meet you, they let their self-doubt make the choice for them. And so the cycle continues. They want you. They crave your presence. But until they can face themselves, until they can truly believe they are worthy, they will always struggle to stand beside you. Should you lower your standards for them? Absolutely not. The moment you start dimming your light to make someone else feel comfortable, you begin to lose yourself. And for what? To ease their insecurity, to make them feel safe in their own self-doubt. That is not your burden to carry. If someone cannot handle the energy you bring, the solution is not for you to shrink. It's for them to rise. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to make yourself smaller just to be more digestible. Your presence demands a certain level of self-assurance, and that is not a bad thing. Yet time and time again, people who fear they are not enough will try to convince you otherwise. They will tell you that you're too much, that you intimidate them, that things would be easier if only you could be less. But easier for who? Because it certainly wouldn't be easier for you. Lowering your standards does not create love. It creates resentment. The moment you start compromising on what you deserve, you begin to resent the person who made you feel like you had to. You will find yourself questioning why you gave up, so much just to make someone else feel comfortable. And the truth is, it was never your responsibility to make them feel worthy. That was their job all along. People who truly belong in your life will see your power and be inspired by it. They will not cower in fear, nor will they try to contain you. They will step up, grow, and meet you at your level, because that's what real love does. It does not ask you to shrink, it asks you to expand. It does not demand sacrifice, it demands evolution. So should you lower your standards for them? No. 1,000 times no. If they cannot handle who you are now, they are not meant to go where you are headed. Let them watch from a distance. Let them feel the weight of their own hesitation. Because the right person, the one truly worthy of you, will never ask you to be less. They will only encourage you to be more. And when that person comes along, there will be no fear, no games, no insecurities disguised as excuses. Only two people, standing side by side, knowing that neither one had to shrink to make the other feel whole. Will they step up and overcome this? Maybe, but only if they are willing to face themselves. Only if they are ready to do the inner work that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Because the truth is, you can't fix them. You can't hold their hand through their insecurities and convince them they are enough. That's a battle they have to fight on their own. Your presence inspires them, but inspiration alone isn't enough. They have to be willing to evolve, to confront their fears, to let go of their self-doubt, to finally believe they are worthy of standing beside you. And that's not easy. Growth is painful. It requires them to let go of old patterns, to stop running from the truth, to take accountability for the ways they've sabotaged themselves. Some will do it. Some will recognize that their fear of losing you is nothing compared to the regret of never stepping up. They will push past their doubts, silence the voices telling them they're not enough, and rise into the version of themselves that was meant to be with you. They will realize that love is not about proving something, it's about showing up, fully and unapologetically, as the person they were always meant to become. But others will let their fear win. They will let their insecurities consume them until they convince themselves it was never meant to be. They will retreat, make excuses, tell themselves that you were too much, instead of admitting that they weren't willing to do enough. And when that happens, you must let them go, because you are not here to wait for someone to grow into the person they should have already been. You are not here to carry the weight of their fears, their hesitations, their inability to see their own worth. Either they rise to meet you or they step aside. And that decision, it is entirely theirs to make. So will they step up? Maybe. But the real question is, will you wait for them to? Or will you continue forward, knowing that the right person will never need to be convinced to claim the space beside you? They want you. They crave your energy, your presence, your light. But wanting is not enough. You are not a prize to be admired from afar. You are a reality that must be earned. And those who hesitate, those who let their insecurities dictate their choices, will find themselves left behind. Because you do not wait. You do not lower yourself for the sake of someone else's comfort. Either they rise to meet you, or they step aside. So claim this truth. They want me, but I am the prize. Say it, believe it, let it guide you. Because in the end, the only people who deserve a place in your life are the ones who are willing to step up and claim it. And if they don't, let them go. Your worth is not up for debate, and your energy is far too rare to be wasted on someone who fears their own reflection in your light.